Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. The first video we're gonna do is woman says, husband, she says fired. I don't know if he was let go. So many people try to put that all as the same thing. I try to break it down a lot in videos that even to the person in general, that fired and let go um, is a bit different. Fired is you did something bad on the job and then they, um, you know, uh, you know, you got walked out. You had to do the walk of shame. Um, you know, you did something bad, or maybe the employer just didn't like you, and and well, I'm adding both parts. Okay, so fired is you did something bad, and you know you did something bad, and you had to do the walk of shame. It's almost just like the same thing, like a person getting in trouble in school. You know you did something bad, and so you got punished. Then there's let go, obviously, where maybe maybe an employer just couldn't work with you. They didn't know how to work with you, or maybe you have a disability, so they didn't know how to work with you, or um, something like that. Um, or you been let go because maybe you worked for like a temp agency, and if if the temp agency doesn't have work, then you can't work. That's what let go. I mean, that's what let go is. Let go is you maybe like I said, you have a disability, and the employer um, couldn't help you to be able to do the job, and it was becoming too annoying for them. The business ran out of work, um, stuff like that. That's what let go is. Or they're downsizing, the employer is downsizing, so they have to start cutting people. That is let go. Um, Fired, again, is something you did something bad, and so you had to do the walk of shame. So we'll see what this is about. Um, Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. Um, like I said, the first video we're gonna do is husband was fired after 30 years on the job. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. If you have any videos that you run across that you want to hear me react to on the channel, post it in my community tab or send it to me through direct message over on Instagram. If you have anything personal going on, like violation of civil rights, or anything involving you, a relative, a friend, regarding like police injustice, police not being held accountable for doing something, or they're in the process of being held accountable, but you want more media coverage on the situation, send that to me through direct message over on Instagram for your personal stuff. If you have anything that you want to hear me react to on the channel, like I said, you can post that in the community tab or send that to me through direct message over on Instagram. And let's get into this. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And let's get into this and see if her husband was fired or let go. Like I said, which it seems like a lot of people don't understand this. Fired is you got walked out because you did something you don't have no business doing, or you did something bad within the company. Let go is, there's so many forms of really let go. Like I said, you can be let go because the employer hired a new manager that can't accommodate your disability if you have a disability. Let go is that they're downsizing, and so your position is getting cut, and so you and multiple people have lost your position, lost your positions. That's what let go is. Let's get into this.
My husband lost his job of 31 years 8 weeks ago. Stay with me, please. Anyways, my husband, 31 years, never written up at work, nothing. Again, he's been there forever.
Never been written up or nothing. Okay, everything sounds so good, but we're just still getting into it. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification.
High up supervisor, please. Anyways, my husband, 31 years, never written up at work, nothing. Again, he's been there forever. High up supervisor. They called him into the office one Monday and said, hey, here's your termination paperwork. We're just going to go a different route. I can only make assumptions at this point.
So they just called him into the office and said, here is your termination paperwork. We're going in a different direction. There's a couple of different ways that we can look at that. It could be that they just wanted to go in a different direction. Maybe they didn't like where he was going within the the way he was directing his team. Maybe they just didn't like that. You see this even in professional sports. I'm a big baseball fan. Never told you guys that. I'm a big baseball fan. Like all teams, obviously the Royals and obviously the Braves, because my father's from Atlanta and I have a lot of relatives from there. Those are obviously, my home teams because of home roots. But I'm also a baseball fan where I like all teams and a lot of teams. I know a lot of people don't even like the Yankees, but I don't mind the Yankees. The Dodgers are starting to get annoying, as we know. But to not get too far off topic, players get designated. In baseball, they call it, or in sports in general, it's called designated for assignment, which basically is the same thing. You got fired, you got let go. Usually in sports, it's due to poor performance. It could be for other things. You did something bad, you got in criminal trouble, different things like that. But again, a player, a team, a manager can just say, hey, we just want to go in a different direction, and they bring in a new player. The same thing with management. You see that in baseball a lot, where the manager is always let go. I can get into a lot of things behind that, though. That's because of the whole situation with the salary cap and baseball not adding a salary cap yet. Hopefully they do that with this new CBA that they're getting ready to do. Again, not trying to get too far off topic, but that's what, that happens. Usually, though, for an everyday regular job, even as a supervisor, they don't usually do that. But unless, like I said, kind of like what I was saying earlier, unless they don't like the direction that you're taking the company in. The same thing, like if a manager gets terminated in baseball, usually is because they don't like the direction of the way the manager is going. When, again, we could have a whole conversation about that. My opinion of that is because there's not a salary cap, and so if you're a manager of a medium or small market team, what are you supposed to do if you don't have a lot of resources like the Dodgers have? So that's a bit different. But for this situation here, I would need to hear more context to see why they would just call him in the office and tell him to leave unless they just didn't like the direction that he was taking his team. That would be the only thing that I could really think of. Right now, especially knowing that he was there for 31 years. Let's continue. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification and join the Young Tripp family.
And everybody, they called him into the office one Monday and said, hey, here's your termination paperwork. We're just going to go a different route. I can only make assumptions at this point, and everybody around him, he got multiple calls from people he's worked with, everything, just shocked. They loved him there. Is that most likely they're just trying to pay someone less money. So that the only assumption we can make, business sense, sure, do what you.
I mean, that is possible too. If he didn't do anything, like she said, and the company just said, oh, well, we want to go in a different direction. Sometimes they actually do want to go in a different direction. Maybe they liked your direction and they enjoyed it for the 31 years. And I guarantee you that there's been new management that's came in and he's continued to operate the same way that he's always been operating, changing and evolving a little bit here and there. But the job is still the same and the job is still the job. And so they enjoyed his direction for the 31 years that he was there, but now they're ready to go in a different direction. As I already stated already, like in baseball, you can have a manager in baseball or any sport for 10 to 15 years, or have them do a job for 5 or 7 years, and then Navy, they won one World Series or they won one championship or something like that, and then they start having losing seasons. Think about. I'm just sitting here also thinking about the Chiefs. Think about all the Super Bowls that we have won recently, but this past year we had a losing season. But just imagine if we have a losing season again next year, they could decide, which I don't think they would, they could decide to let go of Andy Reid, even though he has a whole contract, and say, bye, we like the direction that you led us in for the years that you led us in. We appreciate all the championships, but we feel that we want to go in a different direction now. They can decide that. In that case, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just using that as reference. Think about Ned Yost. Like I said, when you go back to the Royals, the whole thing about 2014 and 2015. I think after that, he really would have had a job for life in Kansas City. He decided to retire and he decided to leave, but I think he could have stayed for as long as he wanted to, if he wanted to. So I personally just think that this employer they wanted to go in a different direction. The money situation could be valid, as well too. I could pay this person less money than I'm paying you, because I got to pay you more money because you've been here so long. You've been here for 31 years. And it could have been almost time for him to get another raise. And they just was like, no, let's just move on from him. He got a whole bunch of 401k. He already benefited so much from this company and decided to move in a different direction. We could have a different debate if it's right or if it's wrong or if a company should do that or not. But at the end of the day, as a business standpoint, they can do that. Just like he could have left a long time ago if he wanted to. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification and join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
Want personal sense, most likely they're just trying to pay someone less money. So that the only assumption we can make. Business sense, sure, do what you want. Personal sense, it's been a shock to us. Anyways, he obviously is struggling to find something that paid as much as it did because he had been there since he was 19 years old. Of course, you know, you put equity into a business by working hard, you go up the ladder and make good money. So granted, you know, finding something that's in the six figures again is a struggle. So stay with me here.
Well, another thing is too, he may not find that right away. He may have to go back to another company, you know, have an interview, show his resume, because 19 years old, that means you basically been there as old as you've been able to actually work. Now, of course, there's jobs where you can work like at 14 or 16 years old. But what I mean is like as a established adult, maybe, into your 20s and older, that he's been there since being at least 1 year into being an adult. And that's a long time to build up a lot of time. Just because you go to another job does not mean that you get to just carry everything over from the previous job. So he may have to go to a job and it may not be six figures. He may, make a certain amount of good money per month. He may have to, kind of go down a little bit and work an everyday job that's not in the big figures, and work his way up in that new company. And that's okay too. Let's continue. It may not be okay to her, and it may make him feel bad, but yeah, you got to go to a new company and you got to work your way back up to where you were. You got to basically start all over because this is a whole new company. And just because you made six figures at that last job doesn't mean that you'll go to a new job and make six figures, even if it's a similar type of job, because they don't know you. They may interview you and say, yeah, everything looks all good, and they may give you a middle of the pack figure versus that high figure that you had at that previous job. Let's continue.
Am begging hard, you go up the ladder and make good money. So granted, finding something that's in the six figures again is a struggle. So stay with me here. I really am begging you guys all to like, comment, repost, add me as a friend, all of that, because I'm going to try my hardest in the meantime to make something of TikTok. It's always been like a little fun side gig, whatever, but now it's one of those where I'm like, okay, I can really do something with this. So help me out, stay with me. It's a trying time for us. We are going to get through it. He's going to find something amazing. We just know it. We were blessed enough that they gave him, enough severance that he has a little bit of time, not a lot, a little bit of time to.
So it definitely seems like they really liked him and all that. They gave him a severance package, so he has a whole bunch of money. I'm sure he has his 401k. He has all the pay that he accumulated up until that point. They also gave him some extra money. So it really seems like they like him and liked him. They just wanted to move in a different direction. That's what it seems like to me. It wasn't so again, which I kind of figured that this was not going to be like a termination video where he just got actually like fired, walked out, he did something bad or nothing like that. This is a let go video. He got let go because the employer wanted to move in a different direction. He did not get fired, he got let go. People have to understand that there's two different things between, hey, this just isn't working for us anymore, or we want to go in a different direction, or we found somebody else that can come in and lead our team, that is, that's a newbie, that's fresh. We enjoyed your business for 31 years. But now we want to go in a different direction and bring in a new voice. That's the word that they actually use in baseball and football and all sports. Hey, we appreciated your leadership and everything. We just want to bring a new voice in the room. That's basically what his employer did. They wanted to bring in a new voice in the room. They took care of him because he took care of them for so many years. They gave him a good severance package. He got all his 401k. He still has obviously some of his benefits. I'm sure they kept all that intact for him for a reasonable amount of time. So he did not get fired. He got let go because his employer wanted to go in a different direction. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. That's what I figured that what this story was. I know Anton, he wants to use the big words probably for clicks, you know, fired and stuff like that. And that's cool. But you also want to probably put something like man was let go / fired or something like that. So you can get the click, but also where people don't be misled thinking that the person actually just got fired. I actually, when I clicked on the video, didn't think the person actually got fired. Something just told me that they actually got let go. But let's continue.
Find something that you just know it. We were blessed enough that they gave him, enough severance that he has a little bit of time, not a lot, a little bit of time to find something that hopefully he enjoys. Because at 50, I really, truly don't believe he should have to start back over and hate his job for the rest of his life. So help me out, help us out, everything. We would enjoy it. I'm sure he's going to see this video. That's okay. I did not block him, but that doesn't matter.
Nah. First problem for me before we even get into the employment is you can't be telling my business on the internet. I think personally, and she seems like a very compassionate, loving person, and that she has his best interests at heart, and she's trying to now do her TikTok thing so she can possibly make some money. I personally believe that the first red flag for me is you cannot tell my business online. That is why I am social media adverse, or whatever the word is that I'm looking for when it comes to a woman that I'm talking to on social media. You can't tell my business. Nah, before we even get into the whole him being 50 years old and all of that stuff, because I don't think that that's a deterrent if you present yourself as a person that's professional and is prepared to really go in and change the company culture good, right? But you can't be telling my business online. And when I see women that's telling about their husband got laid off and now they struggling and they putting all of their financial information, some people may agree with me, some people may disagree with me, but I think that as a man, and women, this is just something that women don't understand. As a man, you got to let me have something. You got to let me have my pride. You got to let me have my ego. You got to let me have something. Because if I can't have that, if I can't at the very least, maintain a level of adoration in the eyes of my friends and whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I don't have nothing as a man. So that's number one. Number two, I don't understand y'all. And maybe it's just because certain people were born in a certain era. Obviously, her husband is around 50, so he was born in the 70s, in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. And I don't know if y'all ever, when I was in corporate America, I never intended or expected to be at a place any longer than 4, max 5 years. And that's to get a little bit of time under my belt or whatever. And it's not just because of the upward mobility that comes along with leveling up and getting to the next place, but it's because I know that layoffs are what they are. When I was coming up, I seen it happening in the auto industry. For people that was a part of the union, I seen it happening in the steel industry that I worked at. I seen it happen in every single industry, retail, whatever. Companies come to go, they go out of business, there's ebbs and flows, society, culture, pandemics, all kind of stuff. And so I was always preparing for the next thing. And maybe, again, it's because of what I went through in 2007 and 2008. But I approach life. I've always approached these companies as though, hey, this may not be here tomorrow. I'm going to make the best of it right now, but I'm going to actually prepare myself to either level up or I'm going to be working on my own stuff when I get home. I'm going to be working on my own business. And again, I know that everybody got different personalities, but in this day and age, are y'all really expecting to be at a company? I mean, he had a hell of a run. He had more than a 30-year run, right? Are y'all really expecting to be at companies this long, or should you be preparing yourself? And I'm not just talking about education, career-wise, all of that, but also financially. I can't be dependent and waiting on a company to save myself. You know what I'm saying? I can't be that. And it seemed like if you at a place for 30 years, that's some time to really put yourself in a good position to where you're not living check to check. You hopefully can have some stuff paid off. You don't have no debt. If you 50 and you still trying to figure out maybe how to pay off your house and all of that, and you've been consistently working for the last 30 years, for me, that says something is wrong. Is something else wrong in there? Is something wrong with your planning, all of that stuff, and life happens, things happen, but he can't find another position. There's plenty of people that's finding jobs. There's plenty of jobs that's available. The problem is, do he maybe want to take a pay cut until he can find something that's actually more to his liking? Is he willing?
And that's what I was already saying too. You would have to possibly take a pay cut, not be making figures again. You may have to have an everyday job for a little while you're looking. And is she going to be able to handle that after being so used to six figures? That's the whole other question. Let's continue.
Make the adjustment is kind of jobs. There's plenty of jobs that's available. The problem is, do he maybe want to take a pay cut until he can find something that's actually more to his liking? Is he willing to make the adjustment? Is he willing to go in a different industry? It's hard a lot of times to teach an old dog new tricks and try to convince people that they can do something differently when they've been used to working at a place for as long as they're working. So there is no rhyme or reason. It doesn't matter if maybe they're trying to find somebody cheaper. None of that matters. None of that matters. Now it's just water under the bridge. Hopefully he got a decent severance check and they've lowered their lifestyle. But it's a lot of things that's happening in this video, all moving parts at the same time. That's kind of confusing me.
In this together, so let me know all the options out there, what you've seen, if this has happened to you. Share all your stories. I would just be happy to be friends with you.
Ma'am, everybody has had issues with jobs and have been either let go due to maybe them going in a different direction, hiring a new manager, and maybe that new manager doesn't want to necessarily work with you, maybe because you have a disability. Maybe somebody, maybe like a manager has harassed you or bothered you at a job, and so an employer has gotten rid of you or let you go, because of those type of situations. There are also people who actually have gotten fired, like I explained, because they did something they didn't have no business doing. That's a bit different though. You kind of deserve that if that happens. It's happened to everyone, man. Let's continue.
I was just let go after.
All the options out there, what you've seen, if this has happened to you. Share all your stories. I would just be happy to be friends with you.
I was just let go after 11 years with this company. Hey guys, I know I haven't been here in a few months and there's reasons for that, but I'm back on TikTok starting today. I will be posting again. I was just let go. I haven't even made it home yet. I had to pull over and just kind of sit with my thoughts and process everything and digest everything that happened. It was unexpected. I knew the moment I walked into the conference room, and HR was there with my manager and the director. So they all had this face, and I knew. It's very hard in the moment to process when you're being let go. And it still is.
And you see, you're hearing her use the right word, let go. That is the word for if you didn't do anything wrong, but the job just wants to go in a different direction. It is let go. If you do something bad, if you go and punch one of your employees in the face, if you punch another employee in the face, and then they tell you you can't work there anymore, you got fired. You didn't get let go. If the employer says, hey, we just want to go in a different direction, or we just don't like the way you're doing this, even though you tried to do it the way that they asked you to do it, or something like that, you didn't give no pushback, you were doing it, but they just didn't like the way, even with the changes that you made, they didn't like what you did, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they, like I said, hired a new manager who just doesn't know how to work with you, and they need that manager. They need a manager to manage everybody, but they can bring in a new you. So that's let go. All of that is let go. Any incidences that is not like bad, that is at no fault of you, is let go. Anything that you caused, causing issues at the job, starting up a whole bunch of gossip and making people get into it, going back and repeating stuff to make other people get into it, and everybody knows that it's you. Like I said, punching somebody in the face, all of that stuff, anything that involves you causing issue is you getting fired. Anything outside of that is you getting let go. Even situations like performance, even if you tried to fix your performance and it just didn't, didn't work out because maybe they're not putting the right accommodations in place because you have a disability, anything like that, that's all let go. Fired is bad. Fired is you did something bad and you got walked out by, your management and all that. And that's what bad is. And sometimes that still happens to somebody. You still get walked out even when you get let go, even though it may look bad. And usually in those cases, that's because usually you're getting let go just because somebody, like the manager, they hired a new manager and they didn't like you, or maybe it's just connected to company policy because they can't just let you be by yourself, because of maybe the company has personal value and personal things, like maybe it's a store and so they have things on the shelves and they just got to do that for policy. They don't think you're going to steal anything, but they got to make sure you don't steal nothing because you're mad or upset because you lost your job, so they got to walk with you. So there's a lot of different reasons that even somebody may walk with you, even though you may be let go and not be fired specifically. Or the person who's letting you go may want to classify it as that you're fired because they don't like you, and the only reason why they're letting you go because maybe they're racist or something like that, and they're actually letting you go to be mean or nasty because they don't like you, and they're trying to show everybody, yep, they got fired, and trying to. But those types of people, karma will come their way for that. But if you actually did something you didn't have no business doing, then you deserve to be walked out and have the walk of shame and have the manager walking with you. If it's company policy, then everybody knows that. And even if you're getting let go, it's, company policy, even though if it's no fault of you. So, yeah. So you hear this lady using the word that I said. So that's good. Let's continue.
It's very hard in the moment to process when you're being let go. And it still is. They did allow me to get my own stuff. As you see, all my stuff is here. I mean, I even had a whole Christmas tree. I had a bunch of stuff. So they let me get...
I was so disconnected from ever setting up shop and becoming a permanent fixture in corporate America as far as the places that I worked at, that if it didn't fit in my backpack, I never took it to work with me. My offices at the different places that I worked at, honestly, they were so sparse. It wasn't a picture, wasn't none of that in there. And it was clean. I made sure that I kept it clean, and the cleaners would come in at night and clean it overnight and stuff like that, vacuum or whatever. But both laptops, both the work one and personal in the backpack, anything that didn't fit in my backpack, I never set up shop. Like, I never was that invested in any company that I worked at to where I felt like I couldn't pivot tomorrow if something was to ever happen.
Stuff. They let me say bye to my team, which I really do appreciate. We had a long, hard hug, and I had a few heart-to-hearts before I left, which I think made the experience a little bit better than just leaving without saying anything. The company is going through a lot of changes, and yeah, I guess I'm just a part of that change. I'm going to make more videos talking about what has been going on at the company and what I experienced the last 6 to 8 months there. Things became really bad, toxic, and I was really unhappy. So, in a sense, I feel like this is a blessing in disguise.
Last thing you want to do is talk negatively about the culture of the job that you worked at, regardless if it's true or not. You want to maintain your professionalism so that you prepare yourself for the next position. Because a lot of times these employers are actually checking your social media to see who you are. And so you don't want to start operating with that bitter breakup type of mentality and energy.
I am someone who my whole life I've overcome adversity, and I've always been better because of it. So this is not going to bring me down. I know who I am, what I bring to the table, and I think that I will find a place that's a better fit for me, where I can truly thrive and be happy. Because ultimately, you are just a number at some...
Yeah, she bitter right now. You should probably put the phone down and wait until you actually have time to level out your feelings, because the first thing that you shouldn't say is, I'm going to find a place that makes me happy. The first thing that you should be saying is, I want to find a place to where I can add value. You know what I'm saying?
Companies, they can make you feel that way. You give a lot, and then one day they just let you go. So, yeah. Good to be back on TikTok. My job basically had made it very clear that they were unhappy that I had an account and I was posting supervisor content. They didn't specifically tell me not to, but it was pretty...
You were posting supervisor content. Are you a supervisor there, or was you videoing a supervisor or what? And now that's moving into being fired if they told you to stop and you continue to do it. Let go, as I stated already, let go is that something happened where the company is downsizing, or maybe like if you have a disability, that maybe they hired a new manager who can't handle your disability and can't accommodate you. Let go is something that you could not control regarding the situation. Not something that you could control. If you could control it, like me being legally blind, the casino job that I worked at, the manager who hired me, he got promoted. They brought in another manager. He didn't work out. They brought in another manager from another location, and he could not handle my condition. And so it did not work out. And so he basically told the company, I want him to leave, even though I was there for 3 years, even though he just got there and wasn't there very long. That is, you got let go. Because if the manager who hired me was still the manager, I probably would still be there right now. If they brought in another guy that would have been better than the guy that they brought in before they brought this guy in who couldn't handle my condition, that other person probably would still be there and I would still be there. But the whole situation of me not being there is because that person could not handle my condition, right? And so, again, that's considered let go. If, because I couldn't control me not being able to do certain things with my condition, and needing certain accommodations and him not wanting to accommodate or whatever, right? Basically accommodate, that's the right word. He didn't want to accommodate what I needed. So that's what led to me being let go. Now, if you can do something and you choose not to do it, and then they tell you to leave, that is you got fired, right? That's a whole nother different thing. Or as I stated earlier, if you punch somebody in the face and then they say, well, get out, you got fired. That's what fired is. You doing something that's a problem, hurting somebody else or hurting the company for no reason, or you felt like it was a reason, but it really wasn't a reason, or you can't even explain why you did it, that is fired. You needing an accommodation and the employer is choosing, or that manager, not really the employer, but the person who is being the manager for the employer does not want to accommodate you, that is, and then they choose to let you go, that is a let go. So she seems like she got fired now that she's getting into it. She didn't get let go. She got fired, even though she's trying to use the word let go. Maybe. Let's see. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification and join the Young Tripp family.
Clear. We're unhappy that I had an account and I was posting supervisor content. They didn't specifically tell me not to, but it was pretty clear. So that's why I had not been active in a while, but I'm back. I will document my journey of unemployment and trying to find my next home in the corporate world. And I'll be talking to you guys again soon. I have a lot to tell you.
So basically, she's kind of bitter at the fact that, I get it now. See, the truth starts to come out, all right? Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, link is in the description. Her being unhappy at the company seems to be them getting on her about what she was posting online, which probably soured the relationship and made her expendable in their eyes in the first place. She put a target on her back. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm holler at you guys later. Peace.
Yeah. Most of these people were actually let go, but using the word fired. The last lady, she used the word let go, but it seems like she was actually fired. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think. I'll have the original video pinned to the top of the chat and in the link in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification and join the Young Tripp family. If you have any videos that you run across that you want to hear me react to on the channel, post it in my community tab or send it to me through direct message over on Instagram. If you have any videos, no, I just said that. If you have anything personal going on, send that to me through direct message over on Instagram. Anything like, any police situations, like that, a police, that you got stopped by the police and they did something, or like the stuff that you've seen on my channel, or, anything like an employer mistreating you or anything like that to help bring awareness to the situation and you're no longer at the company anymore, anything like that, any type of mistreatment situation, or injustice or anything like that, police brutality type stuff, or anything like you've seen on my channel, send that to me through direct message over on Instagram. Also, come follow me over on Instagram because I post over there as well too. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. Also, my Instagram link will be at the top of the chat along with the original video and in the link in the description at the top of the chat along with the original video. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.